Hi, I'm LaKeshia,
Hey, I'm Natalie.
and this is
Life cracks us up. Are you picking up what we're putting down? Are you enjoying the content? Is there feedback you'd like to provide or topics you'd like to discuss? How about you give us a call and share your thoughts? 757-504-4649. That's 757-504-4649. We would love to hear from you. Hey, it's Natalie.
Hi, and I'm LaKeshia, and we are back. So I have a question for you.
Bring it on, baby. Bring it on, baby.
All
That sound
right.
like Louisiana. Bring it on, baby.
So, would you rather have a life filled with extraordinary experiences but shorter in duration, or a longer, more ordinary life with a sense of contentment?
See, the hard part about these questions, there are so many, well, what ifs and what if and does this count? So I'm going to take the question exactly how it's asked, and I'm going to say, Ugh, I'm okay with being content. I guess I'll take the longer life with contentment. The hard, like what makes it hard is you don't know what's longer, what's shorter. Do I got 30
Mm-hmm.
years or do I got 60 years? Do I got 90 years or do I got 40 years? But if I just take it at face value, I guess I'll say I'll live a longer life, um, being content because I'm not unhappy. I'm content. I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know. I look at like I'm already living a life that am I content? I am to a certain extent. But of course, who wouldn't want more? So I don't know. Am I content? I think I'm content. Like I don't hate where I am, but I
Hmm.
would like to have more excitement. So yeah, I think I would probably take the more experiences.
The shorter
But
life
like
and more experiences.
yeah, but like I said, what's shorter? It could be like, oh, you got one day, get it all in.
Right, 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 right. Because and that's the other thing. Like, are you saying like these what if questions are very, very difficult if you try to think them through because you're going to give yourself entirely too many scenarios that
Hmm.
could be played out. Like when you say a shorter life, I don't really grow up until 20. You know what I mean? So now do I have from 20 to 30 to get all these experiences in? Like what's the shorter life? Or are you saying, you know, am I going to live to 100? Like I don't know. That I would still I guess take the life of contentment only because I don't really know what either of them entail. I mean, some people are content vacationing once a year. What's content? So I'm going to take the life contentment.
I got one thing for you. Death becomes her.
That is my motherfucking movie. That is my
Yeah, so you got a long life, but you all broke up in it.
Yeah, yeah, they were piecing them together with putty. Like, that movie. What was it? Goldie Hawn, Roseanne, and
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce
Bruce,
Springsteen. But
Bruce, Bruce Willis.
Bruce
Bruce
Willis,
Willis.
Lord, and I was just in agreement too. Like, yeah, Bruce
I know.
Springsteen,
Like
Bruce
today, I was
Willis.
talking about
No, but
Bernie, and my husband thought I was talking about Bernie Mac. I was like, I was talking about Bernie Sanders.
I don't know how you get those two confused in a conversation. I ain't scared of you, motherfucker. Um, no, what's her name? I can see that white woman's face clear as day. She wins all the Oscars. She was the other half of it was Goldie Hawn and her.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what's her name? We know her name.
It won't. Oh gosh.
Now we're doing. If I just yell out a name in a minute and we're talking about something totally different, don't get
Yeah.
on me later on because that's what it'll be.
Oh, I
Um,
know who she is too.
I
Yeah.
keep thinking Jessica Lange keeps popping in my head. It's not Jessica Lange. It's not. It's one of the four white women who always win. Nicole Kidman, um, uh, and her.
Her. Yeah, her.
All
Go check
right.
out the movie.
We'll
Y'all will see.
spend.
Y'all see who
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah. It'll come to me in a minute, and then I'm gonna scream it out, and it's gonna sound weird. Um. Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
Would you rather find a decomposed dead body or be a witness to the deadly assault?
Oh, oh. I think I'd rather find the body because if I'm a witness, somebody's gonna know I'm a witness, and I might end up the next decomposing body. So I will
Yeah.
do the lean on me and stumble upon it.
Okay. All right. All right. Um, I I kind of feel like I would do the same. I would rather stumble upon it because if I witness it, I have to, don't I have to help? Like, aren't I obligated to say, "Hey, don't do
Uh,
that"?
no.
but but do you know what I mean? Like, I would feel like, "Oh my gosh, I just watched this person get beat to death." Or you could be maybe like in a car and you see it and can't stop it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's in either way. I think I'd rather find the dead body and not see the life. You know what I'm saying? Like, come
Yeah.
regardless of what the scenario is. Mm.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. But what did I just
Excuse
say?
me.
What movie did I say?
You said "Lean on Me," which was I saw.
That's Joe Clark.
I yes, I knew where you
I
were
meant
going.
Stand
Stand
By
by
Me.
me. Yes,
I was
I
like,
knew where you were going with that.
it's not Jessica Lange?
Nope, nope. I knew you were still thinking of it. It's her. It's so clear who she is. She was just on this season of Only Murders in the Building. She's done like everything, and I love her so.
Mm.
I'm going through the alphabet in my head. Does that work for you? Like if I'm trying to think about something, like I'm trying to think about her name, right? So I put her face in my mind, and then I go through the alphabet by each letter, and it'll pop up like that.
Mm.
Yeah. So you do that. I'm gonna do that.
Okay. It's gonna come. It's gonna come right in the, like I said, in the middle of something. It's gonna be like, that's her.
It's got an M in it. Um,
Marilyn Monroe. No.
no, it's Damn it, you were Listen, I can't do this because it's gonna frustrate me. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's
It'll
move
come
on.
to me in a minute. Everything's popping in my head. Faye Dunaway. Everything's popping in my head, but her. Oh gosh. Okay. Um. So I've been kind of thinking, right? I'm not married. You are. Been engaged a few times, but never did the marriage thing. So as a married person, how do you feel about revisiting the marriage every 5 years, 10 years, kind of like a check in with your spouse to see, hey, are we both still all in? Or is it time for us to go
Mm.
our separate ways? What's your thought?
So you're like, well, are you talking about maybe renegotiating the terms of the contract? Or just to see, are we still in, or are we ready to get out?
Both, all of the above. How do you feel about revisiting your marital contract for whatever reason? Hey, we need to start, I guess doing a check-in will determine like, well, maybe we need to do things differently, or hey, this isn't working for me. I'm not as in love now as I thought I would be now. Let's go our separate ways. Like, what are your thoughts on just
Mm.
revisiting the whole marriage, the marriage as a whole, every
Well, I
five
like the
years or
idea of
every
a
10 years?
check-in, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it should probably be maybe like a regular scheduled event, not
Meryl
just.
Streep.
Mer-
Sorry. I knew it was an M. I knew it would just pop up. Meryl Streep. Go. I'm so sorry. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
What, she was in
Meryl
Lean on Me?
Streep.
What?
No. She was in Death Becomes Her. Go, go, go. Visiting
All
Reed,
right,
you do feel
back to
like.
marriage. I would
Yes.
have to say personally that I think a check-in, a regular scheduled check-in is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, because originally when you asked me, I'm thinking like, okay, if something's not going well, it's like, am I ready to jump out?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you do it at that time with that thought, I probably would have jumped out a couple of times. I don't
But
love
I
you
think
today.
I think that part is common. Not even just in a marriage, but relationship period. That I think that's common to say every third Sunday. You're like, yo, I swear for Lord, I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna kill him,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna bury the. I'm gonna call Nat. She's gonna help me bury this body, and
Yes.
then we're gonna go on with life. Like I think
Yes.
that happens, but I'm just talking about generally having every July 7th, we sit down in a room with all of our papers and all of our pros and cons, and we talk about, are we in this marriage for another 5 years till the next check in, or is it time to
Mm.
break? That's what I'm wondering. Not just the,
Oh,
hey, every now and again, I feel like I'm going to kill my spouse. I think I feel that way about my kids. So I don't, that's normal, but like just revisiting the contract itself. Do we tear this up and go our separate ways, or do we stay in? Are we good for another 5 years? And then we
mm.
check in again.
Yeah, I've never done that. And now that I think about it, like I said, once a year, I would say no, because for me, like I said, I've been married 20 years now, good Lord. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's been rough. So it's probably some of those what you say, July 7th, I probably been like, no.
Hmm.
And I probably would regret it, if I did it, then, but not knowing that I have a moment coming soon, that I'd be like, you know what, I can get out at that moment. I can go ahead and jump out, no questions asked or whatever. Just no, I don't think I would do that. However, more recently, we have been doing more regular check-ins. Like, are we good?
Hmm.
Is there something that I could be doing? Like, I went to a conference this past weekend, and it wasn't about relationships in particular, but one of the things that I took from it, it was about they were talking about self-care. And it was like,
Hmm.
with your mate, like, what can you do to help me, or even what can I
Hmm.
do to help you? So I
Hmm.
feel like sometimes we get caught up in the monotony of things. Like I said, 21 years we've been together, and you
Hmm.
just kind of do the same thing over and over again. And I think sometimes you get into a rut and you just maybe take things for granted. And instead of checking in, like, are you okay? Because we all change over
Hmm.
all this long time.
Hmm.
So I think it's probably just a good idea to be more cognizant of what's going on, because, like you said, there's sometimes you want to kill them.
Yeah.
But if I did, I would regret it.
Yeah. And I think
So,
part of, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, no, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think part of checking in, and again, I've never been married, but I've been in relationships for 7, 8 years, which is a marriage minus a piece of paper for the most part. We're sharing household expenses, our names are on the same ish, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
It is a lot easier to get out of that than it is a marriage. But I would like to think that in a marriage, you're already doing the check-ins, like, hey, how you feeling? Uh, you know, or your spouse is noticing something about you that they don't like. I would think, again, as the unmarried person, before everybody rips me a new one, you're not married and you don't know, you can't imagine. Um, but I would like to think that in a marriage, if I'm doing something that's irking the hell out of him, I'd like to think that he would say, "Oh my gosh, Now Marie, like I cannot stand when you do that." Oh, okay, my bad. You know, that's something I can change. Or why do you leave dishes in the sink? Oh, that's an easy breezy fix. I'll just make sure I do the dishes every night. Or if you see them, you can do them. But my point is, there are some things that should be addressed immediately. But for those people, um, even for the people who do address their things, I'm just wondering if every 5 or 7 years it's okay to revisit, do we want to stay married or do we want to go another 5 to 7 years? I'm not talking about the yearly check-ins or anything. Me personally, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. If if that's the route you choose to go, I'd like to think that would prevent somebody from maybe cheating or something. Maybe, because they still got those 5 to 7 years to slip into something else or accidentally fall on top of something else. But I mean, a marriage is a contract when it's all said and done. Yes, it's, you know, in front of God and family and friends and all that good stuff. You're making a vow. I get that. But if it's not working, it's not working. Whether you did it in front of God or anybody else, if it's not working, it's not working.
That's true. And it's funny you say that about in front of God and everybody. Like before I got married, my husband had cold feet. He was like, I can't, I'm not going to do it. We're not going to get married. I told him, I said, I told my grandma we get married. So we
Oh,
get
we're
married.
getting married,
But
right?
grandma dead now.
Yeah. And I mean, so if your husband came to you now, right now, after 20 years, well, it's going to be hard to answer that question because you're already 20 years in. But if you go into the marriage and you're both in agreement that, hey, we're going to check in every 5 years. If at that 5 year mark we decide, yes, we're going to stay together, let's get married again. Let's have a ceremony. Then we'll
Mm.
revisit in 5 years. Are we still happy? Are we still this couple that we used to be? Yeah, cool. Let's have a ceremony. Let's go on vacation for a honeymoon. Like, I'm all for that. All for that.
Yeah, as you talk about it, my emotions are, I'm going back and forth for different reasons. At first I was like, nah, because if you want to get out, just get out. But
Yeah.
I think if you do it that way, like I said, 5 year mark, then if things get rough, that if you really do want it, that you go ahead and push and try, knowing that, I'm going to give my all until that 5 years,
Right.
instead of
Right.
just saying it ain't
Right.
working, I'm out. So
Right.
I guess it could be if you look at it that way, but
Hmm.
yeah, you definitely could get out at any time. But I think sometimes people don't value marriage. And as soon as something goes wrong, they're like, I'm out of here. And I was like, that's foolish. But
That's
now, my husband and
definitely a
I, a
true
couple of years
statement.
ago, we did go on a marriage retreat. And one of the things that they gave us was this book. And it says something like, I love you because, or whatever. I don't remember it's called exactly. But both of us got one. And we had to write in it what we loved about the other person. Like
Hmm.
to say, like, I love it when you say this, or when you wear this, or when we go here, just all the things that you love. And we gave the book to each other.
Right.
So, I can go look at it and be like, oh, he likes when I do this, he likes when I do that. But
Hmm.
then one day, having a rough patch. So I gave him my book, the book that he wrote in, like Joker, remember why you love me?
Right,
It's like,
right,
so
right,
you read
right,
it.
right, right. You
You read
wrote
what
this,
you
not
wrote.
me. You wrote this.
Right, exactly. So there are ups and downs, and there's times of like, you know what? I
Yeah,
don't know. But it does really sadden me because you was like, we've been at it 20 years. And that's what I used to think. It's like once you get past a certain point, you're good. Because there's like, most people don't make it through the first however many years. I was like, oh, I'm
yeah,
good. And then you
yeah,
hear about these people who've been married 35 years and they get divorced. I was like, what?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
What? But I think you have to nurture it along the way.
yeah,
Because I know somebody, they like renew their vows every year, but does it mean anything? Or just like, it's like a birthday party. Like we do this party because we do
yeah,
this party.
yeah. I couldn't do
But
it every year. Every year, I think would be cumbersome, and every year it would be a focal point for me. Like, oh my gosh, it's coming up. Like,
yeah.
I like the idea of every 5 or 7 years, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that for those 5 years you just stay in a loveless marriage and
Hmm.
someone who's treating you like shit. Well, yeah, in those circumstances, you leave before the 5 years are up. I just like the idea of, the 5 year check and mark or whatever, where everybody is on the same page in terms of, are we going to talk about whether it could be a 5 minute conversation? Like, girl, I ain't going nowhere, sir, neither am I. It could be just that. But it could also lead to, listen, I haven't been happy. I've been, pretending to be for your sake or for the kid's sake or whatever the case may be, but I'm not in this like I thought I would be. In that case, it's an amicable split. I'm sure one person will be bitter if one says yes and the other one says no, which is probably more likely to happen.
Yeah.
But if the agreement is this is an amicable split, hell, you can even already have terms if you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the idea of having that conversation every 5 to 7 years to say, hey, Are we still in this marriage? There can't be anything worse than being with someone and putting your so much time, energy, love, dedication into it, and then it fails and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that was 12 years of my life that I could have been doing." You know, I guess even that depends. Was it a happy 12 years? Did it just start falling at the end? There are so many what ifs, but that also supports why I think there should be a check-in every 5 to 7 years.
Like I said, I've got mixed emotions, but hold that. Got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's on your feet?
Okay, the bottom is just regular schmegular. Let me see if how I can do this. Let me get my gymnastics in. Can you see?
What is that?
It's Road Runner.
Nuh-uh.
Wait, is it? Is that? No, it's not, girls. Daffy Duck. I'm
That's
bugging.
okay.
So it's this way. Hold on.
Yeah, it's hard to look at you, girl. All right, now fall off that chair if you want to. I can't get to you. Okay.
You see him? Daffy. Yeah, I chose
Yeah,
a
that's the only
hard
problem
sock,
with the
didn't I?
designs on the top. Well,
Yeah.
these aren't too
What you got?
fancy. These are hold on, pull it back.
Ooh, I
Girl,
see.
it's like the stars and plant stars and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought it's pretty cool.
galaxy. It's like my
Because I got
bed.
more socks this Christmas than I think I've ever been gifted socks my whole entire life.
I
So I said,
love
because I was like, yeah, sock ham. Natalie showed me up last time. I said, I gotta get some socks. So I
I
have
love
so many socks
socks.
now.
Like I love them so much. Can you see them yet? I love them so much. I love socks. You know
Yeah, I
me.
don't. It's funny because I hardly ever wear socks, but now it says socks have to stay in here because I can't be without socks. Natalie is not going to show me up.
I have to have something on my feet. Even I have carpet. I can't walk across this carpet with nothing on. I have to have on a sock, a slipper,
Mm-mm.
something. When I
Nope.
step out of my shower, this is my right hand to God. When I step out of my shower, I dry each foot and slide into a slipper. I don't even step on my shower mat that I have there. I have one of the nice plushy ones that probably just gets all the water and takes it so your foot's not wet. But I can't do it. I can't do it. I will.
So
I will bounce.
my bedroom shoes are parked at the foot of the stairs. I only wear them downstairs. I am
Yeah,
totally barefoot everywhere upstairs.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I
I
don't know either.
I just
Yeah, they're
don't.
parked like in a parking spot. It's like my shoe step down to the bottom step into my
Yeah.
bedroom shoes. When I get ready to come up, park it right there up the stairs barefoot.
Yep.
So,
Yep. It's the same as when I get
but
into my bed.
anyway, back to my relationship.
Oh yes, please, please, by all means, back to your relationship.
But I think the check-in is a nice thing, but I also think that you should just be cognizant of the other person. Like the pastor, hey, the church we used to both go to. I think the pastor said something about keeping it spicy.
Mm.
He's like, go and get you a what did he say? Go get you some yaki. He's always talking about that yaki.
The hair, yeah.
Kind of change it up and spice it up. Like we've recently gone back to date night. Because again, you get complacent, and because we used to, be all giddy, chasing each other around the house, and maybe we don't do that now because we're older. But
And you have a kid in the house. That makes a huge difference.
yeah, you know, remember why you got together because especially been together as long as we have, life happens. We're getting older. There's demands on us. We got a kid in the house again. It's like life isn't all fun and games, and we
Yeah,
got to
it's
play
not.
grown up. And that can wreak havoc on you. And not to mention, my husband works in a different city, and about these bridges and tunnels around here.
Mm-hmm.
So he a little salty when he get home some days, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let him have his space because if not, he'll
Right.
blow up at me, and then I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
mad. It's gonna be ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't if you whether or not you do the periodic check-in, like I said, 5 to 7 years. I think regular check-ins are necessary. Like sometimes I even ask him, "Are we okay?" Just on a regular Tuesday, are we okay?
Yeah. But I mean, on those regular check-ins that you're having, because I think we're talking about two different things. On those regular check-ins that you're having, are you okay? Are we okay? I get that. But are you asking him, are we still going to be married after tomorrow? Like,
Oh
are
yeah.
we still? That's what I'm asking. Like
I mean, I
every
don't
five
know,
to
but I don't think
seven
about. I was like, no,
years.
I'm not gonna give him a chance to get out.
Lord, father in
Because if
heaven.
he says yes, like you said, somebody gonna be salty. I'm like, I ain't ready. But then some
And I
days I'd
mean,
be like,
but do you want to stay with someone who doesn't want to
and
be with you? And I'm not talking about your situation. I'm talking about this general question that I'm asking. You're right. Every marriage you should be checking in every now and again like, "Hey, we good? You good? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You good? I could do without you humming every time we eat dinner." I get that. I'm talking about, are we still in love? Are we still wanting to stay married for another 5 years?
mm,
That's what I'm like. I feel like I'm okay with that. If my spouse, if he didn't say it, that's fine too. But if he brought it to me before we got married and say, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. Would you be okay with this?" I'd be like, "Yeah." Because one of two things are going to happen. We're either both going to be okay. No, one of three things, I guess. We're both going to say, "Hey, yes, I'm still as much into you now as I was 5 years ago. Of course, I do want to stay married." That's going to happen. Or one of us is going to say, "This marriage isn't what I thought it was going to be. I'd rather step out." Or both of you are going to be like, "Yeah, this is not what I thought it was. Let's just be okay with being okay and staying friends or whatever." I don't know. I don't know. I could be
yeah.
wrong.
But I think for in that extreme, that definite situation right there, I would have rather done it in the beginning. The first maybe the first 5 years. But
Hmm.
now I'm thinking, if one wants to go and the other doesn't, like I'm gonna, I know we're coming to the table, like, man, I ain't trying to go nowhere. He'd be like, I'm out. But like,
But
but if
would
that
that be
wasn't an
any
option to,
different? But
if
would
that
that
was an
be any
option, if
different if
you didn't know that was coming, maybe you
but
might
that's
work
what
a
I was
little
going to
harder.
say. That's what I was going to say. Would it be any different if you just came home one day and he said, "I'm not in love anymore"? Whether you saw it coming or not. I have a friend who literally was married for 18 years, and the husband came home and was like, "I just don't love you like I used to. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore."
And did they get divorced?
Yes.
Oh
He
gosh, no.
didn't want to be in it. What, you can't make him stay
And that's true. That's
if he
definitely
doesn't
true.
want to be there. But wouldn't you
I was like,
rather find that out on an agreed upon, "Hey, remember our check-ins coming up?" You know, I guess it really doesn't matter when or how, but if I'm already knowing I'm going to have a conversation and I didn't see signs that their relationship was on the outs, and I knew both of them well, but at the same time, I wasn't at the house with them, to see what was going on when the doors closed. I only saw how we all were when we were together. But I don't know. I feel like it would be worse for me just to have somebody come home and say, "I don't love you anymore.
mm,
I want a divorce," as opposed to, I guess either way you're getting the information, but somehow a check-in seems to
mm.
make me think it would be different.
I don't know. I think
I don't
I
know.
have too much anxiety building up to that date.
Every 5 years you would,
Yeah.
but you
I think,
said
I mean,
you're
like
you're doing
the
regular
month
check-ins
before or whatever, the
anyway.
week before, it's like I know it's coming. It's like, what's gonna happen? So
Oh,
I think it would be horrible either way if you were still in love, or you still wanted to be in, the other person comes. So I don't know. Maybe I just shock it to me, because if I'm if I'm waiting and anticipating, but you know, I wouldn't, if I didn't know that we were having problems. Even when we came to that date, I'd be like, what? So I don't know. It's
but
like
that
I
would
said, I
lead
think
me
that would
to
be great for
believe.
the first maybe 5 years before you get so invested that you've got so much tangled up, and it's easier to get out of it or
Yeah,
whatever. Because like somebody was like, divorce is expensive. I was like, well, I saw a sign it's like $99 if it's uncontested. So
very true.
the
You can
longer you're
do you
together,
can
the
do it
more
yourself.
stuff
You can
you
go
have
to the
tied up
courthouse,
together.
get the doc. You can go to the courthouse, get the documents, and pay only the filing fee. It ain't
Yeah.
even got to be $99. But if you're in a relationship, right, and that 5 year mark hits, everything's good. You get to the 10-year mark. Should it be a surprise though if that person says I don't want to be with you? Like no signs or anything? Like you didn't notice? I'm not obviously I'm not saying you, but I'm just like there was nothing that said this person isn't into me the way they used to be. Like it would it be a complete surprise?
It could be.
I
It
guess.
could be. If you've got your blinders on, if you're still madly in
Oh,
love,
that part, the
yeah.
blinders.
Yeah,
That's a big thing.
well, yeah,
That's
the
a big
blinders, and you're madly in love, and so you don't see any other things, and the other person is kind of holding it together. They're not coming to you and giving you the opportunity because they didn't tell you then
yeah,
when there were, issues that they were dealing with or however they were feeling. So then all of a sudden, yeah,
that's
they come
true.
home and be like, I'm done. Like,
That's true. Do
you should be
you
required to give me a heads up. You cannot come home and say, I'm done.
yeah, no.
Yeah, even on that 5 years, man. If you didn't, have a clue that it was coming, like I said, I'd have anxiety because I thought it was all good. Why we even need to keep this date? We don't need it.
And I guess that kind of lends credence to what I was saying. Like if you're doing a check-in, right? Like you said, if you're communicating, these are all ifs. Every now and again, we good. I know that you didn't come home last night. That's a
Ooh,
sign that like it shouldn't come as a surprise. If you're doing check-ins throughout and you're having, the 5 year, the 7 year, whatever, um, and then you know what? The other side of that is people change. I may say I'm okay with it now, but then on our second 5 year anniversary, I'm like, nah, we're good. We don't need to meet about shit. I'm yours, you're mine, we're good. Yeah, I mean, I guess people do change, like you said, but
yeah.
I still am okay with every 5 years revisiting to say whether or not we want to stay married. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and it also comes to, like I said, whoever you two are, if you two agree on it, because people in relationships do things that I think is weird, like the married couple who lives like roommates that split their bills. I think is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, whatever you two agree upon, I think that's what's going to be the best for you too, for you two. But I was
Yeah.
talking about that with somebody today about the dating when you date somebody, like the first time you get together, I need to know if your medical history. That's what it was. My daughter called me and asked about my medical history. She's filling something out, and I was like, well, before you get a mate, before what is the word, before you make a baby, whatever it is, I think you
Mm-hmm.
should know the medical history, but always say before, like, when is a good time to have that discussion. So I think I'm going to create a dating checklist. First or
Mm-hmm.
second date, I'm gonna need you to bring in your medical records. I'm gonna need you to bring in your credit score. You all these crazy. Do you want children? We
Yeah.
need to discuss that in the beginning because I don't want to get so in love with you and then I tell you my plan about our check-in. They be like, no,
I
I
am
will not.
definitely in agreement. I am in
Yeah, so I
agreement
think there's a
that
lot you
those
need to discuss, but
conversations,
as I said
yes.
before, like are you too far in to bring up these things? Now that you are emotionally tied to this person, and you find out there's a deal breaker.
Those excuse me, those conversations should be had at the point you feel like this is someone you could spend your time with. It may not be first date conversation, but third date, like, hey, I feel like we could build something. We could have something together.
Yeah. Then it's like, how do you
What are
feel
your
about?
thoughts on kids? Yeah, what are your thoughts on kids? Do you have any? Are there any
You're right.
houses I got to worry about? How are you financially? I don't need to know how much money you make, but I would like to know if something happened, could you take care of us until I'm back on my feet? Because I'm in a position where I could do that for you. I do think that those conversations should be had. Those shouldn't be surprises. You shouldn't find all that out. As a matter of fact, I got into a conversation um, with with another bestie, and we were talking about. Do you feel this might even be a whole nother topic that we could visit? Because I feel like there could be a lot of conversation on it. But do you feel that people have to be in a specific place financially to get married. Like, oh, why aren't you guys married yet? Oh, I'm just not there financially. I don't, I'm not, I'm not there financially.
Um, as an older person with some life experience, I think it's probably good to be somewhat financially secure, like your money management skills, like you have a nice job. Do you know how to manage your money so that when we get
I'm not,
together.
that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about people who say, I'm not, I'm not where I want to be financially. So I have to wait until, like, isn't that part of getting married? Building together and lifting each other up. And if you're going to wait, and I guess it kind of shows, I guess, I don't know if I'm about to use the right terminology, but I'm not talking about being able to afford a lavish wedding. That's not what I'm talking about, because that's a whole nother conversation too. If you can't afford the wedding, don't have a big wedding. How hard is that? Like,
Right.
I get it.
True.
You want to have a beautiful wedding and all that. In that case, yeah, wait till you have $100,000 to spend on a wedding. Do that shit, whatever. But if not, can you not have a nice wedding without spending $100,000? But that's anyway. But I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, like, when people say, you've been engaged to this dude for 5 years and he won't get married because he says he's not financially, where he wants to be financially, or vice versa. You've been married to this chick for 7 years, but she won't say yes because she's not financially, or you're not where she wants you to be financially. Well, why are you with me this long then? I've already shown you that I'm not going to be where you want me to be. So I don't know. I just felt like it shouldn't be a reason not to get married. It should be a reason to not get married if it's been 6, 7 years, because that person's showing you they're not going to make a change. It's not going to be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, 6 7 years is a bit too long, I think, but because if you haven't gotten closer to it, because I understand, yeah, you want to maybe not the lavish wedding, but you want to, have a nice house. You don't want
Hmm.
to get married and live with one of your parents. I can see that, but that sounds like some people are trying to make it excuses. They proposed because you wanted them to, but I have no
Hmm.
intention of marrying you. So yeah, that's what that sounds like. But yeah, I think you should be at a certain point. Like I said, if
I'm in
if we're living
agreement
with our
that.
parents because we can't afford to live anywhere else, then maybe we can save a little bit more so we can get a
Hmm.
place.
Hmm.
So but yeah, like I said, as an older person, I think it makes sense if you have somebody who both of you all have something going for yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that part of it. I just don't know, is there a dollar limit on that? Like, what has to be the scenario to say I can't marry you because I'm not financially secure? Um, if you chose this person, I'd like to think they're not living out of a car. They're, they have a job. Like, otherwise, how did you get with this person in the first place if they're not?
They had potential.
Okay, potential. Okay, potential. I feel like for me, I'd rather go in knowing this person, and that goes back to that conversation you have up front before you even get involved with this person.
My book
This
there.
this is what I'm looking for. I'd like to be married in a couple of years or 3 years, or whatever. That's what I'd like to do. No, I'm not giving you an ultimatum. No, I'm not telling you this has to be the way it is. But I'm just telling you what I'd like to. What is that? What book is that? What book is that? Is that yours?
But
Your book. What book is that?
oh, my life cracks us up.
Oh, okay. I can't see it from here. I'm blind.
I know we
Um,
can't see anything, but
I know.
oh
Sometimes
yeah,
I don't
no,
know
not my
if
other book.
my other
Actually, I took
book
all my books out because I went to a vending event and I wanted to make sure I had enough and got them
Oh,
back in
okay.
the car. I pedal them out of my trunk.
Oh, trying to be more financially secure. for
Yes,
your
yes. As a
marriage?
matter of fact, I am because I picked up a little side hustle that I may or may not keep. I said that going back to that 9 to 5 is not gonna cut it for me. I
Yeah,
can't.
you've been away from it too long.
Yeah, I
Going
realized there's
back to
somebody telling me when to be there and how long, and
that. Yeah. Yeah, you going back to that, that would be hard. I can see where that would be difficult for you.
yeah. But I mean, this the relationships are so complicated. And I think the main thing is open communication because
Hmm.
whether or not we decide we're going to revisit this thing is going to have to be something that we agree upon.
Hmm.
Whether we decide we're going to have to wait until we get married, at what point is it okay? I think it all boils down to communication, even
Yeah.
throughout the relationship. Like I said, I've been married for 20, oh, excuse me, over 20 years. We dated for a year before, so we've been together 21 years this time, but I've known him forever.
Hmm.
Um, we've changed a lot.
Yeah,
We really have. We've gone through some ups and downs
of
and some
course.
downs and downs.
And some ups and ups.
But yeah. Because it's crazy because the first, I don't know, 15 years was like all wonderful. Well, 98% wonderful.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, this is the best. And then, things happen, other people come in your life gets a little. So
Hmm.
if at some points, if we had that 7 year, 5 year check in throughout those days,
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I think, like I said, it's all, of course, my own personal opinion. But yeah, if we had had that in place during some of the rough times, I think we would have both been like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But now that we didn't have that, so there was no expectation of being able to make it to this point and then we can get out of here. It's like there was no expectation of that, so we just pressed through it, and now we're on the other side, and it's like I
See, but
made
I
it.
even, but and maybe that's the thing. Like the 5 year check in is not. It's not stay married until the 5 years and then it's use it as an out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just every 5 years or so, you just kind of, hey, we still married? Yeah, we're good. All right,
But
let's
that's what
move
I'm
on.
saying. But if we're not good at that point, that gives you an out.
But don't you
So
have the out all the time?
you do. But I would say, like, suppose nobody wants to really push it. Like I said,
Oh,
we
I
were
see
going
what you're
through
saying.
whatever
Yeah,
we're going through, and we
yeah,
were just in it.
yeah. And like you said, nobody
But
wants to push the issue, but you know you
right,
got
right.
in
But
a
if
year
you
and a half,
know
you're gonna be
that on
sitting at the
September
table.
15th, when we sit down and somebody asks that
Hmm.
question,
Hmm.
it's that
You have an
you
opportunity
right, you get
to be
opportunity
out.
to say,
Yeah,
you know what, I'm out.
yeah.
And yeah, because you might have put up with it that extra last 3 4 months because you know what, I'm not even, I don't even have to consider doing anything about this thing. I just got to ride it out these last couple of months,
Yeah.
and then you don't
I
try
mean,
to put it effort in.
so let me ask you this. I dropped my glass, excuse me. Let me ask you this. I know a marriage is work, right? I've never had anyone say, oh, marriage is easy. Every single person I know who's married says marriage is work. You have to work at it. But this is my question. Again, as someone who has not been married, how much fucking work you got to put in before you're miserable? Like, how much work is too much work? When does it become this is all work and no fun? Like, I guess that's what I think what I'm saying about the check-in. When it becomes I'm not getting anything positive from it, it's just work. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want it where every single day I have to fucking make a conscious effort to stay married to you. I'd rather be out or you be out than every single day I have to fucking work to be married to you.
Yeah,
I
because I
don't want
think if
that.
it no, I think that if it gets to that point, you don't have to make it to the 5 years.
Right.
If it's that miserable, then you're gonna get out anyway.
Right. Yeah. I would
But I
hope
just
that
think it's
someone's not going to
easier.
stay in it
Yeah, I
to
think it's
say,
easier to get out it's easier to focus on, I got a time when I can jump out, no questions asked, versus I need to put in some effort and see if it'll work. Try to make it work. I just think it's an easy out. Like I said, I've been going back and forth the whole conversation, but I think, yeah, my ultimate feeling is that that's an easy out. And I think, you should put forth the effort. And at whatever point, if it doesn't, if you done all you can do honestly and it's not working, then yeah, like you said, I'm not going to even wait till that 5 year point if it's that bad. If
Right. And
it's
that's
like,
what I was going to say. I guess
yeah,
it
we've
would
been
be
going through this. We're
considered.
going round and round and round. You can't come to any resolution. You won't go to therapy with me. It's like, I'm not going to wait. Because
See,
it could have been
and
good
again,
at 5 and 6 years, and now you got to wait another, 3, 4. And I was like,
but that's also my thing. Like, I'm not against therapy. I'm not. If there's something wrong, I'm not saying I'm just going to be out whenever I hit a problem with my spouse. That's not what I'm saying. I'm even okay with, hey, let's go to therapy. Let's see if we can figure it out. But if my whole marriage is every Thursday night at 6, we got to meet at the therapist, or, every fucking 2 weeks, we got to sit down and talk about what's going wrong or what, I don't have the mental capacity for that. And it could be my age. I don't have the mental capacity. I don't have the mental strength to cuddle. I just don't. I don't. Maybe that's why my black ass ain't married, because I don't have it in me to just baby a situation
yeah,
24/7. I get that a marriage is work, and I get that you have to put towards it, and the other person has to, and you have to. I get that 1,000,000,000%. I promise. I'm just talking about having to every single day figure out how to get through the day with this person and still be married at the end of the day or the week. I just,
yeah.
the thought of it gives me a little bit of anxiety. And at that point, we're checking in every 3 years to find out, are we in this? Are we good? All that to
God,
say, I'm for the 5 year check in. It sounds like you're kind of on the fence, or you're saying nah.
yeah, I was on the fence, but I think my final answer is going to be no.
Okay.
No, because like I said, if I'm still in and we come to that date and you're like, I'm out, and I gotta accept that, I'm like, nah. So no, I don't want to give you. And it's funny because when I first got married, I used to say it should be something at the end of your marriage license that you can sign and get out. If a certain clause, like if it doesn't work out in the first year or two, you just sign it, you're out. But like I said, it's I'm at a different point in my life. We're so intertwined, and also, I don't want to go out there and start all over again.
Girl, you do not.
I
You
at this
and I
point I don't want to be single because it's a mess.
It is. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It is horrible out here. But I think that's why we have such opposing views on this. It's because you are married and have been for 20 years, and
20 years.
I am not and have not. So it's easy for me to say what I'm saying, and it's hard for you to imagine it because you've been married for 20 years. You could not even imagine having to revisit this in 5 years, at 25 years, and saying, hey, you good? Because in your mind, we've already been together for 20 years. But if you had been having check ins every 5 years, this wouldn't seem so strange to you. Do you see what I'm
Of
saying? But I
course,
get it.
probably.
I
Yeah.
totally get your viewpoint, though. I do.
Yeah. So I
It's
guess
a lot
whatever it is that you
harder to say
establish that in the beginning.
in the beginning. That's the key.
In the
That's what
beginning.
it all boils down to.
Yes.
Cool beans. Cool beans. I'm with you.
Yes. So on that note, I think the
Yes,
moral of the
on
story
that note.
is, yeah, put all that stuff on the front and figure
Yep.
out what your relationship is going to look like.
Yep.
Whether, like I said, it's the check-in, whether it's I need to know your credit score, how many baby mamas you got. It's like, yeah, get that stuff out before you're
Yeah.
so invested.
And the
And
conversation
yeah,
and the conversation could also look like, hey, I'm in. We're getting married. We're in. We may not be where we want to be, but because we're going to check in 5 years, You've got that time to get your part together. I've got that time to get my part together. If at that time we're not where we want to be financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, we can be out. But like you said, you've established it in the beginning. I think that's the key
Yes,
point. Not
that's the
five,
key.
10 years in. You can't change the
Right?
contract 5, 10 years in. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, sir. No, sir. I'm not going for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
can't go for that. Oh, no.
no, no,
I
no
can't
can
go
do.
for that. That's right. We haven't sung this season.
We have not. And poor Daryl Hall and John Oates. Are they friends yet? I know they were suing one another. One
Oh,
wanted to sell the catalog, the other one did not want to sell the catalog.
yeah. I don't
That's
know.
rich
All I
people
know is,
problems.
I know, right?
That's rich people problems. So next week, would you pay to attend someone's wedding?
That's going to be interesting.
Aha. Yes, it is. So we will see you all next week when we talk about whether or not you would pay to go to somebody's wedding. I think it's pretty interesting.
Definitely, definitely open for discussion. So if you have ideas, you can go ahead and let us know. You can call. You can call. You can email. You can Facebook message. All that. What
You
you
can
say?
shout it out. You can use smoke signals. But yeah, give
Semaphores.
us your thoughts. Give it like, follow, subscribe,
Yes,
share,
all those things.
share. Yeah, and let us know what you want to hear. We're here for you. This isn't just for us to show you how cute we are. We're here for you. We want to talk
For
about what you
you.
want to talk about. So holla at your girls.
Until next time.
Are you picking up what we're putting down? If so, now's the time to like, follow, subscribe, and share. We'd also love to hear from you. Give us a call at 757-504-4649, or you can email us at lifecracksusup@gmail.com, or just drop us a comment. If you're so inclined, do all three.
Thank you for hanging out with us. Be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe. And look for a new episode every Wednesday.